Well, you may be not tuning in the morning, could be in the afternoon or in the evening. All right, so we have some things. Let's go ahead. I actually got a computer set up now over here. A laptop now, thanks to Santee over there. So thank you for providing me with a laptop. Okay, let's go. Let's read the comments right now. So because we got quite a few of them this time around. And by the way, I was going to say, for those of you, what we're going to do is I actually want to start this for the future radio shows. So leave the comment down below this time around. Q&A. Ask the questions and we'll try to answer them for you folks, and just ask away. So then that way throughout the radio show we can keep this going, and that way we can interact a little bit better with you, the subscribers and friends of the channel and all that. So thank you, and here we go. Let's start right now. First one up. Hey, Joe P. How you doing, Joe? It says right here, you know I love the radio shows. For me, the longer and more detailed they are, the better. And you took the words right out of my mouth when you said you wish that Colt would make the new snake guns in blue. I've always wanted one since they came out, and just not interested in the stainless ones. Yeah, I'm not, I am not oddly enough, I'm not a big fan of the stainless stuff. I really am not. If you actually look through, I do a lot of videos on different things, but most of the time I just like the old school blued firearm. I'm not a big fan of stainless. Certainly not a fan of, I have that Python that's in 3-inch. I like it, and it's polished. The Colt did a polished job on it, which is really nice. Other than that, just the way I feel about things, I feel that a stainless gun that's just bland stainless it just looks like an unfinished product to me. Just my opinion. Sorry if you guys are the ones that like stainless guns. I'm just not a fan. All right. Kyle Wood says, great video, and I just love your 19. Unfortunately, even pawn shop finds are very expensive. Yeah, even everything is getting expensive. I mean, it used to be that your standard Smith & Wesson revolver would run you about $500 to $650, depending on what it was, what it is. And now it's just even that is just getting astronomical. It's just getting pretty silly. Richard Busby, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. I share your appreciation for vintage blued or Parkerized Smith & Wesson revolvers. Keep the Wheelman videos coming. All right, we got one here for you too. We're gonna get dirty on that one. All right, Slimfire 54. JW, thank you for reading my comment, and others too. I appreciate it. I feel your pain when it comes to cell phones. Keep the videos, keep the awesome videos. Yeah, that's why I get this laptop over here, just so I can read these a little bit better. Lion Quest Fitness says the Raspalians approach a highly polished revolver, looks much larger in the hand, and may cause some serious reconsiderations. Danger Man, I've got a 19-3 snub made in the 70s. Took a while to find. They get a decent price on it, but well worth it. Yeah, it is. As you probably know, Danger Man, that gun is really well worth it. I didn't realize that the -3s went back that far. I didn't know they went back to the 70s. I didn't know that. For some reason, I thought they were more like an 80s gun. All right, Frank Buddha. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, Frank. I do apologize. Great video. I sold my 2020 4-inch Python and have the 3-inch model coming next week. Oh, so do you have it? Do you like it there? And the Model 19 is exactly what I'm looking for, but the prices for a mint condition one are too high, says the guy that paid for a new Colt Python. That's all right. I know that. I've done that though. Squibload, good video. I have the same issues with AC or furnace kicking on right when you're uploading from the bench and turn again. That's what I mean. Every time you do these videos, everything, I mean, it's Murphy's Law, and it's going to happen no matter what, right? Jerry Johnson II. Fantastic collector's radio show. The Colt Python is absolutely gorgeous looking. Absolutely. I do like it. I do. I mean, I really am a fan of them, especially for the shootability. They definitely going to hold up. I feel they're going to hold up a little bit better. I'm not going to say I'm knocking the old ones. There's something about them. I used to have a couple. I let them go. It is what it is. until it isn't. The Bohemian Hunting Club, those D45s are awesome looking. Yeah, we got some over here. We'll talk about that. Brian Epps. That Model 19 is a real beauty. Saw one at a 4-inch barrel today or yesterday, 700. The bluing finish is not very good though. No idea what the guns are worth. You know, Brian, it seems like they are really kind of creeping up there to 1,000+ mark. It's just the way they're going. Gun Collector 007. Man, oh man, just beautiful. All right, Justin Gibbons, great guns, nice references. Sean Lee, nice job. Loops, hobbies, and more. I bet Santee helped as well with some of the Uberti and other types. Talking about the sale of grips. KSFWG, gun shops are hazardous to my bank account. Ain't that the truth? 2.5 barrels are snubbies. 3-inch barrels are stubby. The Scottish American, my brother, the crazy Scotsman. It's crazy how some of the prices of the new ones are higher than the originals. Always think, why would anybody spend that on a new one instead of the old original? Makes no sense, but I'm old school. I'm old school too. That's crazy how you would think that's crazy. Covert Arrangements. I'll be coming out your way to Arizona next year as I'm traveling a nurse. Maybe we can do some shooting on some retro guns or even bring a Colt's Vietnam era M16. All right. Denny IDM. I think he loves revolvers. Sorry, it doesn't have the option to translate. And last but not least, again, loops, hobbies, and more. Thank you for reading the comments. Absolutely. Like I said, next go around, let's go ahead and if you want, ask a question or try to answer them and get that out there. So we'll have another sip of coffee here for the morning crew. Okay. You know, speaking of all this stuff, you know what I brought out today? The beautiful Smith & Wesson Model 29-2 vintage early 70s pinned and recessed. What a great Dirty Harry revolver this is. And if that's the thing, if you like Dirty Harry, you definitely are probably gonna want one of these things, or it's either on your bucket list or you have a bunch of them. And this is certainly one of the cool ones. This would have been what he had in the movies, basically. Would have been a -2 and a 6.5, and that's the true magic number right there. And that's what kind of it gets to the point where people always say, well, they see a big old revolver with a long barrel, they immediately go, well, Dirty Harry. Well, there is only one Dirty Harry gun. There really is. Well, actually, there's two. Do you know what the other one is? But no, when it comes to the revolver, and that's what we're talking about, the infamous Model 29 revolver, it is the 6.5 blued. That's just it, and it's a -2. It's what he has in the movie. You can actually tell, especially in the beginning of Magnum Force, when the gun comes up into the frame with his hand and he delivers his infamous line. You can tell by the space between the cylinder and the frame that it is actually a pin and recess. Obviously, you can see the cross pin through it as well. You know, so funny thing is, during the later part of the 70s, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you're talking like 78 or 79, even though it's a -2, somewhere along the line they decided to chop a 1/2 inch off the 6.5-inch barrels, making them a total of 6. It's enough to where if you really look at it carefully, you'll notice it. If not, if you just kind of brush over it, you won't even notice it at all. But there is something to be said about when you see the true 6.5. It actually does have a little bit more length. Now, keep in mind, when they measure these things, they are measuring from forcing cone to the front end, the tip of the muzzle here. So that's where they're measuring it, from the forcing cone on. So I don't know when, exactly if it was 78, 79, because I've seen -2s in the wooden box and everything with all of the glory. And I was looking at it one time. I was at a shop, and I said, that looks strange. That looks like there's something different about that. Like the barrel length looks a little off, or something looks off. And with a little bit of research, I forget what I did some reading on that and found that out, that they were actually doing that. They were starting to chop 1/2 inch off those barrels. Why? I don't know. I don't know why they would do that. So really, that's kind of unknown. That's weird. So speaking of the variations of his revolver, if you actually look at the poster, and I'm gonna get one. I really want to get one of those posters. The Dirty Harry, the Deadpool, which is the last one that they did, not that ridiculous movie that guy they consider an actor. Anyway, that last Dirty Harry movie, the Deadpool, with it also has Liam Neeson in it and Jim Carrey, ironically, kind of funny in it. If you look at the poster, the original VHS posters, covers and all that, and what you would have saw in the theater, it's got the side profile of Clint's face, and then the gun is just kind of resting there like this. Nobody's holding it; it's just there. You look at that, that's actually an 8 3/8 inch barrel that they did for that poster, and I'm sure they just did that just for the dramatic effect, but that's a change. And then of course in come on, Dirty Harry, guys, sudden impact, what changes there? He actually gets an auto mag. Yeah, and he says, what is his buddy tell him? Sweet Sister Sadie, where'd you get that? Well, I've had it for a while, right? Before he blows away the targets with his Mossberg, and he says, not bad. He goes, not bad at all. He goes, you got to strain the remains for the fingerprints. And then he says, well, this is the 44 Magnum Auto Mag, and when properly used, it'll remove the fingerprints. Really neat movie. Actually, another fun part of that movie is watch when they attack him outside, and they beat him up just before they kick his revolver off the ledge of that dock or wherever they're at. And if I'm not the only one that went right there when it happened, look at the grips on that. Those grips are gorgeous off that gun that they used in that film, at least in that scene. Oh, those grips are gorgeous, just gorgeous. Okay, next one up is this right here. And what this is Colt's new government model that they have out. It's the pre-Series 70 roll marks on it, 45 auto. And this is the one that they did out, and it was supposed to be right around the $800 MSRP. Now I purchased this for the just under 800, I believe, or 800 it might have been out when it finally was said and done. That's where they're supposed to be at. Unfortunately, now with the market and doing what it's doing, it just inflated, and now these things are like, I think on a good average, it's like over $1,000, like $1,100, which is sad because this gun was never intended to be that price. But that's just what happens. But Colt did start putting them out. I'm thrilled that they did. So here it is, the Colt Government model with the pre-Series 70 roll marks, which it does not have the Series 80 style firing pin system in it, the block and everything. So now mine has some changes done to it. I did make some changes on mine. I put the original old school Series 70 hammer in there off of one of those Mark IVs, and of course a retro sided hammer. What I mean by sided hammer is it's got the polished sides on it. I do an arch mainspring housing because I'm a bigger fan of the arch mainspring housing, and then of course I got the Harriet style skip checker grips on there. The D45s is the Bohemian Hunting Club mention. So all that in the package deal. These are the grips that I styled. I did make them. I get questions on that. Well, how'd you get those grips? Where'd you get those grips? I make them, and I used to sell them until things what happened with that was eBay and everything. They just started charging way too much, and then at the end of the year getting hit with taxes and all that, and I just don't need it. So anyway, these are modeled after what I started when I made these and started doing these. I've only done a handful of them. These are known as what I call the Gino Felino grips. And why I called it that is if you watch the movie Out for Justice with Steven Seagal, that's what he has on his gun. At least I saw the photo of his 1911. It was used in that film, and that's what they got. So I had to do it. I know, I had to do it. Now, in this case, so this is what's kind of neat about this. Yeah. Now, yeah, they kind of, now back to what the Crazy Scotsman, or the American Scotsman now, was calling that, what he meant by that, which is, why would somebody spend the kind of money on a like something like this? Like, okay, like if I saw this in the store and it was $1,200, or I saw an actual vintage 1968 model, the real one, for the same price, or maybe $100 more, I'd probably get the old one. Well, why not? You know, I mean, it's just like it's gonna have more value. It's gonna, so that's what when the new pops or the repops or whatever start exceeding those prices, that's when I say, well, that's kind of stupid. I kind of see that. I see the point. I also see a little bit of the point where maybe perhaps sometimes when they redo something, it is more durable. Perhaps it maybe it has a more durability, so that could be that too. But no, like a great example too is this one, Springfield Armory's remake of the High Power. I've never seen one on the shelf. I got really excited when I heard about it. I was like all on top of it. Never saw one on the shelf. I go on the gun broker. People are going bananas over those things, bidding over $1,000 for them in some cases. What is wrong with you? You can actually buy a Belgium-made, really gorgeous one for that price. Why are you buying this reproduction one? That I do agree with. I got to say, there you go. That's a great example of that. So anyway, that's that. One last thing I'll talk about before we head out of here is you know, I've been using the Wilson Combat magazines for all my 1911s. It's what I do. I don't get paid by Wilson or anything like that, but I do love their products. I think they make some of the most superb 1911 stuff on the market. And they've also kept up with the modern age as they ventured off into their own lineup of different types of modern type handguns, also venturing off into Glocks and the SIG 320s and things like that, which I'm not too interested in. But these right here are the Vickers Tactical magazines, and what makes it different is like the 45 auto one, it's going to have these little grooves cut into the follower, and then it's got a bigger base plate. I know you can buy ones with other base plates, but this is I think this is the full-blown deluxe model here with that big, large base plate. The tube is completely sealed up except for one witness hole right there, which will let you know the 8th round is in there. And then, of course, you know, the standard must-have cutout for the magazine catch. Here I got one in 9mm, and I know most of the 1911s these days I do shoot are in 9mm. This is their Vickers Elite, one of theirs. Here you can actually see the logo and everything on that, Vickers Tactical. This one, I must say, so it's funny is it doesn't have that follower. It doesn't. It's probably because it's the 9mm variant of it. It doesn't have that larger plate on the bottom. I don't know if that just because that's the other style that they make. And the tube is, of course, sealed up and all that. Going back to the 45 auto one, I'm not a fan of this 4-plate, I guess if you were to call it that. I'm not a fan of it. I really don't. I think it's big and clumsy. So I don't think, in my opinion, I don't think these are worth the extra money. I really don't see it. That's just personally what I feel about that. I think I'll just stick with the regular, you know, the $40 range EMT mags or whatever they call those, the other ones. So that's just where I'm going to stick with that. But anyway, I thought you might enjoy this edition of the Collector's Radio, talk a little bit about the other stuff, and then, of course, our latest video talking about the collet barrel bushing on the Series 70 Mark IV 1911s. So go ahead and check that out, and I will leave you to it. Enjoy.